So what's the story with Bitcoin today? And we're going to move into a short session of Technical Analysis 101. What is going on with Bitcoin? Now, with technical analysis, you're basically trying to use historical data on the charts to understand which way future price action is going to go. So, looking on the daily of Bitcoin, I see something awesome. And what I see is I see Bitcoin retracing from its high of recent days. So it hit a high of $67,000 thereabouts and retraced quickly the following day. So here we are today, and I see something going on here. The blue line here is our 9-day moving average, and Bitcoin is breaking below the 9-day moving average. So what we want to do is we want to zoom in on the chart. So we're going to go down to the 4-hourly. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a line of resistance right here. Guys, if you look to the left, you can see this big green candlestick here. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. There, that is a line in the sand. It's a strong line of resistance because boom, 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 it simply could not get past over the span of 3 days. It eventually broke through on the 4th day, but now that it's in retracement mode, it is coming back. And in an ideal situation, we don't want to break below what was previously a resistance and now is a support because it's just broken below. Now, if it had bounced right up off of this white line of support at 61,743, so a perfect scenario would be that it come down, it retrace, and then it just do a nice bounce back up, which have been a nice continuation upward bullish motion. But that's not what is going on today as we speak. Unfortunately, it is breaking down below the previous resistance, and the next line in the sand is our 9-day moving average. Now we're going to zoom in to our 4-hourly chart. Looking on our 4-hourly chart, we see it ever so clearly. We see a death cross with our 9-day moving average and our 20-day moving average. So that is not a good sign, but what is a good sign is the fact that this red moving average here is our 55-day moving average, and we see a nice bounce right off it. So right now it's acting as a good line of support. Let's see if we can keep it up. So now we're going to go down to an even lower time frame, and that's going to be the 1 hour. Going down to our 1 hour time frame, what I like to do is I like to scoot the chart together when I'm on these lower time frames because it's easier to identify patterns, especially areas of support and resistance. So we've broken down what was our previous resistance, and now we're looking for another line in the sand. And you can see it in this area. If you look in that area, we see a cluster going on here. Now, bear in mind we're on a 1 hour time frame. So over the course of what looks like a 24 hour period, we see the price of Bitcoin just playing around at this area of support and resistance. So I'm going to draw that line again. I'm going to largen this chart a little bit, fatten up those candlesticks, and we can see what's going on here. So I can actually mess around with this rectangle and bring it down to what visibly looks like a nice area of support right there. So now I'm going to draw that in. Okay, so now I have a zone. And having created these two lines of support and resistance, and if we look backwards over the previous days, this zone has been respected by Bitcoin over and over again. And so fast forward to today, we see the same thing playing out. So we see the price of Bitcoin coming all the way down and stopping at about this area of support, as in previous days. So what is interesting is these lower wicks. So to ensure the authenticity of a bull run, we want lower wicks. Lower wicks are our keys to seeing a good reversal. So we're going to go even further below the 1 hour time frame, and we're going to go to the 30-minute time frame. The 30-minute time frame is showing us exactly what we want to see. All we see within this zone is the wick, which is awesome because long bottom wicks indicate a reversal. A reversal is what we need, because Bitcoin retracing from its highs over the last couple of days to where it is right now is actually a good healthy sign. We always want to see a good healthy retracement. If you go back to the daily, we can see how this retracement is playing out. This is still good. Now, what wouldn't be good is if there were no bottom wicks, and that would be a sure sign that the bears are in control and that those red candles are going to continue to be prominent. So we're looking at those wicks, as we can see here, and this is just awesome. Even as we speak, the bottom of this daily candle is just finding a nice solid support right above the 9-day moving average. This is exactly what we want. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Fibonacci retracement tool to draw those set Fibonacci levels, and I'm going to compare it to these levels that I drew freehand. Now, when you're drawing your Fibonacci level, it's important to draw it on the daily. So back to the daily we go. So here we have a very zoomed out daily chart, and I'm going to pull a Fibonacci right from the lowest point on my daily all the way up to my highest point, which we achieved the last couple of days. And so when we draw this, now we can zoom in and we can see a little better what is going on as far as the levels that Bitcoin has broken and the levels that we're trying to stay above. So for the space of 3 weeks, from September 7 to about October 1 here, we had Bitcoin just playing around this 38.2% level, which is a $45,000 mark. Now, you will remember we were in the 40s for what seemed like weeks and weeks, where Bitcoin was just oscillating up and down and seeming to go nowhere fast until this awesome day here. So we had on the daily October 1, October 2, we can see these awesome crossovers, these awesome golden crosses where our moving averages are all crossing above, to the point where we have the smallest moving average at the top, the 9-day, and our largest moving average, the 55-day, right at the bottom. This is the beginning of the bull run that we have just experienced. So this started off, kicked off here and kept on going. So it broke above 1, 2. It broke above 2 levels over the space of a few days. It played around at this all-important 23.6% Fibonacci level, which is about the $53,000 mark. Played around it for a few days just to continue that upward, massive upward move straight up to the all-time high that we saw just some days ago. Now, it's no surprise that it faced a little bit of resistance around here, because that is to be expected. What you want to do in a bull run, you always want to sell. If you're into day trading, then you want to sell on the approach of the next resistance level, which is right up at this $67,375 mark. So no surprise that we have a retracement, and for as long as we stay above our 9-day moving average, then it remains a healthy retracement. I wouldn't want to see a dip down to the 20-day, but at some point, guys, we're going to need to retrace to that 20-day, or that 20-day moving average is going to have to kind of move up a little more steeply to ensure that the gap between the current price of Bitcoin is not so far above the 20-day moving average, because there is that natural tendency for price to want to pull back to the moving averages. I feel we're still within a bull run. We've broken the 50% fib, the 38.2% fib, the 23.6% fib. And I think it's okay to see some consolidation between this 23.6% and right here, our 0% fib, which is our all-time high. So if we look at the, if we pull out, zoom out, and look at a bird's eye view of this daily, we can see that, look at this. Even though Bitcoin did fall below the 50% Fibonacci level, it used the 61.8% level as its support. That was awesome. It did drop down, but it just bounced straight back up, and here we are today. So this little retracement, I wouldn't be worried about. The only time I would become a little worried about this retracement is if it were to break below this 20 moving day average. Now let's look in the past to see what happened previously when it did break below the 20-day moving average. And we see it very, very clearly here. It broke down below the 20-day moving average. And look at this massive, massive bear run on account of the fact that it broke below the 20-day moving average. So that's all I have to say as far as trying to gauge what Bitcoin has the mind to do over the next few days. So all we need to do at this point is to watch this space. Well, that's all, folks. I hope you've learned something from this video. And if you have, the only thing I ask is that you hit that like button, comment below, because I do use your comments to better inform me of what other content to create. Share with your friends and family. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. That way you get my videos as soon as I upload them. And I'll meet you in the next video.